Welcome back everyone. So in today's video I will be walking you through the steps of creating a table in Databricks environment, and we are using the Databricks free edition. And in the last videos I walked you through the process of signing up with Databricks free edition. I also did another video where I went through the general UI overview, right? I walked through how you can use the Databricks UI. So again, in this video, I will be walking you through the steps of creating a table in Databricks. Now, you can imagine Databricks is a platform, and there are so many ways that you can create or bring data into the environment. So in this video, I will not go through the end-to-end overview, but I will just show you a few of the options. And so let's jump into it. So in order to create tables in Databricks, your data will be getting stored, or they will live under the catalog section of the Databricks environment. So what we want to do is go to catalog right here, and because this is the free edition, we will go to our workspace here, and you can see here I do have the schema here created with one table. So this is the table that I created in the last video. So actually I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. Okay, so I cannot delete it because there is a table here, so I'm just going to delete the table first, and then I will clean the schema right here, right? So I just want to show you how you can do it from the beginning. Now what you want to do is to create a schema within the workspace, and you can do it through the UI or through the SQL editor. So let's actually go, let's do it through the UI. It should be the same really. So I will click the workspace here, all right, and then create a schema, and let's call this schema prawns schema, right? So we'll just call it prawns and go ahead and create it. So this is going to create our schema now inside our workspace. Now, this schema is where we will be creating our tables, fields, user-defined functions. Everything that is an object that you want to store will be inside the the schema itself. So in this case, we are going to be using prawns. All right, so we do not have a table now inside the schema. So let's go ahead and go through the first option now of creating a table within your Databricks environment. So the first one I mentioned a few of them, but the first one that we'll go through is the DDL. So you can write a SQL DDL script and then load data into your table. Now with that option you are limited, because if you have millions of records, then generally a DDL may not be the best one if you are just doing the create insert, right? But if you just want to insert a few records and play with it, then that's an option for you. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going, in order to do that, we'll go here. Then you can see here, you can create a table right from here, from the UI, and maybe we can do that. No, this one will ask you to upload a file. So we'll come back to this. But now, in order to do the DDL one, let me actually close all of these ones. Okay. So again, we will do the DDL one. So just go to the SQL editor here, and then you will get a new script here. Sorry, a new window here. So what we want to do is to create our DDL, right? So for this one, we want to you can do it within. You can navigate to where you want to create it, like because it is 3 namespace, right? So it is the catalog. The way Databricks stores the data, it stores in catalog, and then the schema, and then the table, right? So the table itself. So in this case, you can put that within the script, or you can just select up here. So the workspace here will be generally our catalog, and then so that's the workspace, and then we want to create a table inside prawns. So I'm just going to select it here, and then what I will do is I will bring the DDL right here. Okay, so I do have this DDL pre-created. So I'm going to bring that one right here now. Okay. So generally this is just a create. It creates a table, and then we do have the insert. So yeah, if you come from traditional, RDBMS databases like MySQL, Postgre, you probably are familiar with this, right? So right here we are creating our table, create table, and you can do create or replace or create if not exists. All of that is available for you. So I know this table does not exist within our workspace, so I'm just going to create it, right? And this is what I was mentioning, right? Because we already selected where we want to create a table, then that's good. But if you if you just want to be sure, then you can do the tree namespace where you select the workspace, and then so that will be something like this: workspace dot we want to put it in prawns dot orders, so like that, and that is going to still work. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute this then. So I'm going to create this table here. That will so what it's going to do is it's going to start our SQL serverless warehouse here, because you do need the compute in order to execute these queries. So it's going to start our compute. Again, this is the free edition, so if you are running SQL queries, you will use a SQL warehouse. And if you're running notebooks like Python notebooks and that, and we'll get to that, and then you can use general job compute cluster, which is a serverless one as well. All right, so our table has been created now, and if you go to this section here, you can see that we have our table. Right now it does not have any records, so let's go ahead now and insert records to this table. So I'm just going to select all of this and execute this. So this is going to insert 20 records into this table right here. Okay, so it might, because this is a small data warehouse or compute instance, it's it might take a few seconds, but it's done now. So your table is ready now, and from there you can go ahead and query this table, right? So let's just run a select on this table. So select stuff from orders. Okay, so you do that, and we should be able to get some records now right here from that table. There we go. So you can see now we have 20 records here. Scroll down, right? You can also see the number of rows that were returned here. Awesome. So there we go. So now you have your table, and from there you can proceed and use this table for your analytics. Awesome. All right, so this is one way of creating a table in Databricks, and just general DDL within the SQL editor, and you have your table ready for you. Okay, now let's move over to the other option of creating a table within Databricks here, and that one is just uploading a CSV file directly from your local machine, right? So for that, you can directly go to there are a few ways of doing that. So one way is if you go to workspace, if you go to catalog here, right? If you go to catalog, you can add data and add data from. If you do that, it's going to give you some of the options that you can do that, and you can just go ahead and click this from upload from your local machine. You can see the limitation here you have is up to 2 GB, right? Another way of doing that is also if you go to new here and go to upload data, right, it is going to bring you to the same section, and then just go ahead and click that and so create or modify table from a file upload. So basically, if you have a file from your local machine, you can see the formats that are supported: CSV, TSV, tab, JSON, Afro, Bake, all of these files here are supported. So if you have that in your local machine, then you can go ahead and upload it. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to click this, and we will be browsing our local file explorer. So I do have here a file called netflix.movies. So this is generally Netflix movies or IMDb movies. So you can bring any file really, right? So I'm just going to bring this one here. So all you have to do is basically select that file or double click it, and it is going to bring it for you here. So you can see now we have the structure of the data here, and Databricks is pretty neat. You can preview, you can preview this table, and what you have here is you can select where you want this file to be created or the table to be created. So you have your catalog here, which is our workspace, and then the schema. So in this case, we want to put this in prompts. You can select another schema, or you can create a new one as well if you like, and then the name of the table. So how do you want to name this table? So I will actually the right name for this one should be IMDb. Okay, so because all of these movies are not available in Netflix. Okay, so IMDb movies. I don't know what's here in the advanced section. Looks like these are just additional attributes that you can specify. So what's the file type here, and the delimiter. First row contains header. So if that's not the case, you can remove it. But in this scenario, it is the case with my data. You can detect the column types, or you can specify it. I want to detect it, and all of this. Match the schema across multiple files. So these are some of the options that you can select for your data, right? Okay, so if you are satisfied, actually one other thing here is there are two options here. So if this is a new table, you can go ahead and create a new table. If you want to overwrite an existing table, then you can select the second option here. So let's go with the new one, because we do not have this table anyway in our catalog, right? So let's just make sure this is IMDb. Okay, like so. All right, and that is it. So you can scroll to the right and see you have all of your fields. Okay, and then we go ahead and create it. So that is going to now create our table in Databricks using that file. Very nice. So you can see now we have our table here, and we have all of our columns, the data types, okay, associated with this. And when you scroll down here, you can see this is a Delta format. This is stored as a Delta table. So this is the Databricks managed table. Okay, and how big this file is and how many files were brought in and all of that. Very good. And then now if you want to you can go to sample data, right? You can sample the data for this. It's obviously you do need your data the warehouse to be up. So you can sample this data. You can see that this data is looking good, right? Of course, if this is a file that you are going to be using for analytics, then you have to make sure that it was loaded properly. So you can run queries to make sure that all of the files, all of the records were loaded and all of that. So, but you can see additional statistics for this table here, right? What type of table it is, what storage, when it was created, who created it, and things like that. You can also check the permissions, the history for this table. Obviously the first time it is created, it's going to tell you, this create table or select from obviously the file. That's how Databricks interprets it. Okay, very good. All right, so you have your table now available here, and you can proceed and query this table. Now, of course, if you want to query this, you can do the same thing. So you can do that from the query editor here. Okay, so from IMDb movies, IMDb, right? IMDb movies is the name of the table. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So yep, so you can use this table now. You can select and use this table. Let's see how many records actually are contained here. So you can select count of all of this. Very good. So we have about 8,000 records. Awesome. So that is the second way that you can create a table in Databricks, and from here you can proceed and use this data for your analytics or for whatever purpose you are bringing this data for in Databricks, right? Now let's move over to the third option, and that is using volumes. All right, so what is a volume in Databricks? So if you want volume in Databricks, you can read about it. And basically a volume in Databricks, so volumes in Databricks are a Unity catalog objects designed for accessing, storing, governing, and organizing files, particularly non-tabular datasets. They extend governance capabilities of Unity catalog beyond tables to include unstructured, semi-structured, and structured data files. Okay, so basically a volume is another storage feature within Databricks. So you can upload your files, whether structured, semi-structured, and then from there you can query that data and run analytics on top of it. So basically you can, if you have a file and you want to store it in Databricks, you can upload it to volumes. Now volumes have to be within a schema. So you have to create a volume within a certain schema and then upload the file there, and then from there you can go ahead and create a table from that volume. Now to do that, let's go ahead and do that. So let's go over to prawns here, right? We'll go to our prawn schema, and let's think we can open this in a new tab here, right? Okay, so we are inside our prawns schema. Let's see what options we have here. Okay, so you can create a volume in a schema, you can create a table or a machine learning model. So let's create a volume here, and we are going to name this, you can name it anything. Let's probably just name this data, just generic. And there are two ways that you can create volumes. Managed volume, this means that Databricks will manage it, or external volume, and that means that the data will be stored somewhere else. So it could be a data lake like S3 or a GCP cloud storage or ADLS for Azure, or somewhere else really. Okay, so the data here will be stored outside Databricks. In this scenario, we just want to bring this into Databricks, so I will go ahead and create this volume. And now if you go to your schema, you will see that there is another volumes folder created here, and inside there you have your volume here. And in this volume here, this is the path to the volume, and you will see the files if there are any files. So in this scenario, we do not have any file here. So let's go ahead and upload a file here, right? So we will upload the same file from our local machine. Let's upload pretty much the same file. And you can do the same thing. You can overwrite file with the same file name. Now the good thing with volume is if you have like partitions of data or incremental data that are coming at specific times, you know, throughout the day, you can actually put them here. But you can see also any formats of it can store up to 5 GB. That's the limitation here. Anyway, let's go ahead and upload this. So now we have our Netflix file here, and you can browse, download, and things like that from here, right? So we have our file available here now. So how do we create a table from this volume? So you can see there are a few ways of doing that. You can create a table, right? So you can see from the UI here, you can delete, download, or create a table. I have not used this option, but let's try how it works. So from the volume, okay, it looks like it works the same way, just as if we were uploading a regular file from the local machine, right? So you can create a table from a volume. So let's go ahead and do that. We put it here, and then we call this one IMDP movies, let's say volume UI, right? Okay, so this is going to create it from the volume from the UI. Let's go ahead and hit, and I think the other options should be the same, right? So you have advanced attributes just like we did before, right? And you can also, you know, select if you want to override it. Okay, you hit create, and this is going to create our table right here as well. So if you refresh this, you see that we have another table now here, and you can query this table, you can preview the data, you can, you know, see all of these nice features here. Okay, so you can see here the number of rows that we have here, 8,000, which is neat. It matches what we have in our file. Very good. Okay, now that is one way of creating a table from volumes through the UI. Now let's do this through a notebook, right? So imagine you have your data in your volumes and you want to run a script to do that. So how do you do that? So there are a few ways of doing that. So let's go over now to a notebook. So let's create a notebook here. So we'll go ahead and create a notebook, and you can name this notebook, let's say creating tables, right? And so you can see now this table is of by default it is selected to SQL. Let's change this into a Python notebook, right? So we will change that into a Python notebook. And now what you want to do is, if you want to create a table from volume, right? So I'm going to bring a Spark data frame here. So you can use Spark for this, and Databricks is generally built in Spark, so you don't have to like initialize Spark sessions and all of those things, right? So you can basically just go ahead and read your data directly from the volumes directory. So what we're doing here is let's actually I'm going to put a markdown here, creating a table from volume using data frame. Okay, so we are using Spark data frame for this. Okay. All right, so what we want to do here is we are basically defining the first line here is we are defining the data frame, and we are using the Spark read dot format, or you can use also .csv, whichever one is. I think both of those should work really. Okay, so the format here is saying it's CSV. We want to put headers. You can also do in fast schema. All right, so our file do have headers, okay, and then we want to load from volume. So what we want to do in volumes then is to navigate to where our file is. So if we go to volumes, so that will be under catalog here. So what we want to do is basically go to where that volume is located and just basically copy the path. So that is this one here. We just want to copy that. Now remember, this only has one file, so if you have several files and you want to load for specific one, then you have to bring the name of the file, but in this scenario it's only one. So we're just going to copy the way it is, and when we come back now here, right, I'm just going to copy and paste that one right here, like so. Now remember, you can also put the name of the file .csv, or if you want to bring only for specific, you can put wildcard.csv, you know, however way you like it. All right, so that is going to now go to our volumes and then locate the files that are there. In our scenario, we only have one file there, right? We only have one file here for Netflix movies. So then it's going to scan it and then basically load that file. And then the next thing that we are going to do here is to save this table now. So we want to save this table in catalog, right, as a table from data frame here. So you can do the mode to override. So this is basically if the table exists, then you can override it. But again, this table is new to us, so we are not going to put this option, but that is also available for you. And then so it's we are getting the data frame, we are writing as a table to our catalog. So you can specify here the schema that you want to do. So in this case, our schema is bronze, and what is the name of the table that you will create. So let's do this IMDb movies, and then we are doing the Spark for this. Okay, and then if we run this now, just execute this, and this is going to basically create this table, and it's going to be available for us with the data in it. Okay, so now this one, you will see here that we do have now 2 compute instances available. This one is just a general job cluster serverless. Again, this Databricks will give you this, but if you're running in if you have the paid edition, then you can select the compute that you want to use. It could be general purpose compute or things like that. Okay, so that is going now to run, and you can see this one is going through the volume, and it's going to create our table. So these clusters that we are given for the free edition, they are not super powerful, so they might take a little bit to run in case you have a large file. So this file has around like 8,000 records, so maybe it might take a few minutes to run. Okay, so we'll let it run. Okay, so there is an error here. So we have retries exceeded, maximum number of entries has been exceeded. So this might be an issue with the compute cluster. Don't know if we stop this one here, if it's going to run. So I'm going to stop that, and we will come back here to our notebook. Right, where is it? Recents, creating tables right here. And let's run that again. Okay. So sometimes it might be the cluster, or it might be something to do with the table or the file. So I believe we might have some limitation probably with that file, but let's see if it's going to run this time. Okay, so seems like this error keeps showing up. I terminated the instance and restarted it again, but it seems like it is still showing up. And if you go to the Databricks free edition, there are actually some limitations with using the compute instances within the free edition. So you can see here we do have a quota here. So if you exceed your quota, your workspace compute resources will be shut down and unavailable for the rest of the day. So this is something I've run into in a few times. So if you execute your queries against either the SQL warehouse or the serverless compute, Databricks kind of limits you after some time. So looks like I have hit the quota for using these compute resources for today, and therefore I keep running into these scenarios. But just generally, if you do not have that scenario in your environment, this is one query that you can execute. So basically, you are loading this into a data frame and creating a table and writing that table to your catalog. So if this was to run, we will have another table within our catalog that is named as IMDP movies. And then you could also do something similar like this if you want to run in SQL format. So you could do something down here like so. You have to do SQL here though, because this notebook is Python. So you can do something like this, where you're creating or replacing a table as this one. So you're using CTAS. So one way of doing this at first is if you let's comment this out here. So within Databricks, you can access files either in volumes, DBFS, or even external locations. So if you have your data in S3 or GCS or ADLS, you can use this function called read files. So you can basically select stuff from read files and then put the path to your file, right? And then when you run that, then you will be able to view the data, right? And then when you do that, then you can just go ahead and then do the CTA as, right? So create table as. So if you, I'm sure if you have come across that quite a number of times, if you have worked with like other RDBMS databases, SQL, Postgre, and things like that, right? So then once you have that, then you can use the records that you get from here to create your table. So you can just put where you want to create a table, and then it's going to pull it for you. So you can see here in our scenario, we have already hit our quota. So, I will keep running into this error here. Okay, so if you do this, then you will also get your table created as well for you within the catalog, okay? So we have gone through a few ways now. Unfortunately, this one, we didn't finish it because of this quota here. So this is one thing that you'll run into quite a bit if you're using the free edition again. Okay, so we went through the DDL. All right, so we went through the DDL. So we created a table with the DDL. We did the volumes here. We did the orders table with DDL, and then we created the IMDP movies from a local folder or a local file. We just uploaded it, and then the table was created. We uploaded to the volumes, and then we created it from UI. You can also do the same thing with the if you write notebooks, right? So you can do something like this. Now those are not the only ways that you can write and bring data into Databricks. If you go to Marketplace, you can also use some of this free data here. So if you go here and select, you can just select tables and you know, if you find any data set here that you believe might be good for you, then you can bring it, right? So just click it and get instant access. It is going to bring it for you, right? It's going to bring it for you to Databricks. Now I don't know if this is going to work because it is because of the limitation, right? But let's give it a try. I don't know if we'll have it. There we go. So you can see it's going to be available for you under samples, and from there you can preview it, right? So there might be some limitation also. It might take a few minutes to display all the data. So that's just something to note here, right? Okay, very good. And then the other thing that you can do also with Databricks is now you can create a Delta Live tables. So those are streaming or batch jobs, and that's one thing that actually Databricks is very big on. So you know, creating Delta Live tables. So you know, for big organizations, you are ingesting data from various sources, and most of the time you can bring the data directly to Databricks, or the most commonly used one is landing it into a external storage like S3 or a Google Cloud Storage or ADLS, whichever one you use, and then from there you bring that data into, or you stream that data into Databricks. That is where the medallion architecture comes in, the bronze, silver, gold. Now if you are streaming your data into the bronze layer from say Amazon S3, then you can use Databricks autoloader feature, which is going to be scanning your files as they arrive in the S3 and then continuously append it to your streaming table in bronze layer, right? So to do that, you can that is basically another way that you can create and bring or ingest data into Databricks. So that is just generally the extract, load, ingestion process into Databricks. So if you are interested in that, you can follow something like this. So they call it now declarative pipelines, right? Leg flow declarative pipelines. This used to be the Delta Live tables before. So you can use autoloader. So you can have your data in S3, and then from there you can just go ahead and bring your data. So it uses this feature in Databricks called Cloud Files. So what this Cloud Files does is it's going to once you know, specify where your data source is. In this case, this is the source for this, but it could be a S3 like I mentioned. Then it's just going to listen to that directory, and every time there is a new file, then when you run your pipeline, it's going to only ingest a new one. Now the first time you run this, it's going to load all the files. The second time, it's only going to load new or updated files that have come into your source. So this is what is pretty big in Databricks, and you know, a lot of huge organizations use this feature to ingest their data into Databricks. And then once the data is in the raw or a bronze layer, then from there you can create your silver and gold layers, and you know, serve your business with that data. All right, so there are quite a few ways. I mean, you can even write, because Databricks is very much integrated with Spark and Python. You can write notebooks to pick data from APIs. If you have, you know, external APIs, internal APIs, you can ingest your data from those APIs and bring them to Databricks. So there are a lot of ways in which you can bring data into Databricks. But if you're a beginner and you are wondering, hey, how do I just create a basic table in Databricks so that you can use the environment, I hope the steps that I outlined in this video are helpful for you. So you know, please give thumbs up to the video, and also do subscribe to the channel if you want to stay updated for videos like this. Alright guys, that's all I had for you in this video. I will see you then in the next video. Bye bye.